Hey, well, good evening and welcome back to the Brothers-in-law. And on this channel, we discuss police-involved incidents that occur around the country, and we give our analysis on the actions of those police officers to see if their actions are what a reasonable officer would do. We also look at the actions of citizens to see if they have followed our acronym of CALM, which stands for Comply, Answer Questions, Listen, and Move On, would their situation had turned out differently. Now, you may agree or disagree with this, but by the end of this video, it is our hope that you get a better understanding of how these incidents unfold. So if you're new to our channel, I was a Virginia State police officer for 7 years, and I'm a retired Navy Chief Petty Officer. Hey, welcome, Mike.
Hey, good to be back. I'm the co-host, Mike Bradley. I'm a retired law enforcement officer in the city of Pleasanton, Northern California, and I'm a 6-year Army veteran. We got a good one lined up today, so we're gonna talk about some police stuff. And this one was kind of recent, there, Corey, wasn't it? Kind of recent in Akron.
Yeah, actually, July 1st.
Yeah. So, it's a good video, I think, to bring up to show, because a lot of people, when they see a video like they're about to see here, it kind of shocks the conscience because they're not used to seeing that, or maybe they are used to seeing that, I don't know. But it kind of, makes people feel some kind of way. Hey, Tone, I see you. Hey, Stacy, I see you on here. Appreciate you guys joining us.
Yeah. And so, like always, before we get into the video, we want to go ahead and thank you and welcome everybody to the show again. And if you're new to our channel, go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe button for us so that we get this type of information out to our fellow citizens out here so that we all learn something from how to interact with law enforcement, especially when it comes to the acronym of CALM. And the acronym CALM is huge because we believe if you do these 4 things, which is comply, answer questions, listen, and move on, no matter what type of officer you get, you should not have a problem, because what you're doing is taking any type of means from them from doing anything stupid to you from happening. So, by following it, you should be okay going through a traffic stop. Now, again, we're living in a different times now, and with all the stress levels, what the officer goes through, what the citizen has been seeing, what some citizens have gone through, it's a lot of tensions in it. And we always say it in all our videos, it's a two-way street, right, Mike?
Yeah, it
we
is.
expect the officers to act a certain way, and we expect citizens to act a certain way. And so, we're gonna break this video down. But again, before we get into it, hit that like, share, and subscribe button again for us. Also, let me put it up on here as well. If you haven't been over to visit our merch shop where you can get a Brothers-in-law t-shirt that has the acronym of CALM on it, please get over and get yourself one. Help us spread the word out of staying calm during traffic stop. Over to the merch shop at the brothers-in-law.myspreadshop.com and get yourself a Brothers-in-law t-shirt and help rep us. And the proceeds we go to is actually help us to get on other platforms so that we can get more viewership and get the word of the acronym of CALM out there, just like they did with DARE. This is what we're going to do with CALM. Goal is to get it into the schools, to get our youth to understand there is a way that you must conduct yourself. We have high expectations for the officer. We need to have the same high expectations of the citizens so that we don't end up on the 5 o'clock news for something that should not have happened. What's going on?
TSW1, I see you on here, brother.
What it do? What it do? What it do? So it's good to be back, Mike. I mean, you had last week with something with the wife. I had a funeral to go to the week before, so it's good to be back with our viewers and our fans out there. And we just want to thank you for the likes and the shares that you guys have been doing for us. Keep it up. We're slowly growing. We had one of our videos that we did a couple months back now has hit over 1,200 views. So we just want to thank you all for the support. And then since we've been doing this thus far, we've gotten over 10,000. I think I looked at that, is 10,120 something views of all our videos. So just thank you all for the love and support. So don't forget to get that t-shirt, T-Dub. Get that shirt. And so Without further ado, Mike, yeah, this is a good one. This happened over the weekend in our home state of Akron, Ohio. You want to set it up, Mike? Let me get this
Yeah,
video.
this if I understand it correctly, the officers were called to this area of a gentleman who what was it again? Was he acting erratic or something along those lines? Possibly was armed with something, waving around in the street or something like that.
Well, the actual call was it was just running. He had an expired tag, which is, and let me get into that for just a hot second when we talk about expired tags and things like that. So according to the article, he had an expired 30-day tag on.
Okay.
And so the officers ran the tag, and it came back, one, that the registration was expired, and two, he had active warrants. Hey, what's up, Jesus? Love you. Welcome, brother. He had active warrants. While they're waiting to confirm that these warrants were still good, they lost sight of the young man.
So they had not stopped him yet initially.
Correct.
They had just saw his plate,
Correct.
ran his plate, and realized the plate was expired registration tags.
Correct.
And then on top of that, I assume they ran the driver or the registered owner of the vehicle.
Correct.
Discovered that registered owner of the vehicle had some warrants.
Correct.
So right out the gate, very common way that officers get ready to stop someone. In California, we can run plates all day and day for no reason. If we don't stop anyone, we can actually run your plate because the plate is out, available for us to see. You're required to have your vehicles registered. You're required to have your registration current and everything current with the vehicle. So it's very common that cops will roll around, and I used to do that myself. Look at plates. Do I see any expired registration tags?
Especially if they're a 30-day tag. That's going to be a more of an eye catcher for law enforcement. And a couple reasons why. It's paper, one. So we automatically know, and citizens, that your tags expire, but you don't really pay attention to it, right? Because you're expecting your tags to come in the mail, or you haven't made it to the dealership yet to pick up your tag. But those things are paper, right? And so the ink on it is going to fade. The black print on it is going to fade after a while. So for usually that's an indicator for me that, okay, that's probably a expired registration tag. So I would that's probable cause enough for me to go and say and take a little closer look. I'll see that the tags expire, and then I'll go ahead and initiate the stop.
Right. I mean, we in California, we can run the plate. There's been times when I've ran the plate first and discovered that the registration is expired and they had a current tag on there. Well, that's right there. That's illegal. Obviously, something ain't adding up there. I've when we pull someone over, it was customary. It was common practice for us to give dispatch the plate and the location where we were pulling over before we even hit those lights and pulled you over. You know what I'm saying? We would give dispatch that information, but sometimes we don't want to pull you over yet, and we just run your plate to see if it's expired, or if it looks expired, we'll run that to verify it. And in this case, that's what happened. They verified that his registration was expired before they even attempted to pull him over.
Right. And then that's when they got the alert that, he had outstanding warrants. So fast forward a little bit. Now they got him in the parking lot. He's already out the car. And then that's where we'll pick it up at from right there. So as always, we see something, we'll stop. We'll make our comments. Please go ahead, drop your comments down in here. Let us know what you're thinking. And I'll hold my tongue for a few minutes so y'all can get a gander at the video here and make your comments.
And real quick,
go ahead, Mike.
Anytime people see police using use of force, it's never pretty. Okay, I think a lot of citizens need to understand that if I gotta put my hands on you, I'm not going to do it politely and lightly.
Let's not jump that gun just yet, Mike. I know exactly where you're going.
Okay, okay.
All right. I want to hold that juice.
Hey, Jesus, love you. I see you on here. All right.
What's up, man? All right. Hey, come here, man. Don't do this. Don't do this. Please, sir. 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 Please. Put your hands behind your back. Please, sir. Please, sir. Please, sir. Please.
I know we early into it. Pause before sex for
Oh yeah.
Okay, man.
Now I know we early into the video, but here's my question that I couldn't quite understand, and maybe you can help me out too, Corey. Is is this the first initial contact that they have with him? And if so, I guess I may not understand what the urgency was for them to get him on the ground. This is expired registration. Yeah, he got some warrants, but he was out of the car kind of acting strange, before the officers even came up to him. So I'm trying to figure out what elevated this contact right out the gate.
Well, according to the article that I had read, they said that it seemed as though that he was looking to possibly get back into the vehicle and maybe drive off again, or once he did that, then he turns around like if he was going to start maybe take off. And so that's why they went on ahead and hurried up and went hands on with him.
Okay, so that's reason as a reasonable officer. If I know you, so they already knew he had warrants.
They already knew
they knew that they had already stopped him at this point.
Correct.
So I think that's a reasonable response. If you getting ready to get back into the car, or I'm getting ready to lose control of your movements, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with you to be able to control your movements. I may not want you to get back in the car. I may not want you to walk around freely until I am able to control your movements and speak to you. You know what I'm saying? So I can see that. What you say?
Yeah, I mean, you know as well as I do. A lot of times when we have these things, these guys know that they're out here and they have these warrants. They're not stupid. These guys are not stupid by no stretch of the imagination. Some of them might be, but they know they have active warrants. They know the criminal lifestyle that they're into. So as an officer, as you make your approach like that, that's the number one thing I'm always thinking about is, okay, I have to get this under control before it goes south real quick. And how do I do that? I have to go hands on with you and at least try to get you detained. Maybe not so much as maybe put handcuffs on, but at least have you in a position where if you try to book on me or flee, I can quickly grab a hold of you.
And I agree with that.
And then at this point, as we'll see, I don't want to jump the gun. Hey, Mom, welcome to the show.
Hey, Mr. Taylor.
They try to gain control of the situation.
I got that. All right.
All right, here we go, y'all.
Back to it now. I can't. Oh my God. Oh my God.
You see the punch to the strike to it.
Mike's already.
Put your hands back.
So he's still not rolling over.
Hands behind your back. Do it now. Stop resisting. Let go of your hand. Let go of your hand.
So that's the question right there. And this pretty much, we'll keep it going here in a second, but here's my question to our viewers. Was he resisting? What do you guys think? Was he resisting? And what does that mean to you? When you hear, or like, do you physically have to be bucking and swinging all the way around to resist? Or are you not resisting? If ma'am, sir, go ahead and place your hands behind your back, and you're not doing that, you're walking away from me, are you not resisting me? What does that mean to you? So just because you sit here and saying okay, 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 and you're not complying of what I'm telling you to do, this is what's going to happen. What say you?
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. Yeah, if I, for instance, like you said, a good example is if I tell you to put your hands behind your back and you don't do that, that's a form of resistance. So basically, if I got to put my hands on you and physically force you to do what I'm telling you to do, then you're resisting. You may not be punching me, you may not be kicking me or anything like that, but you are stopping me from doing what I'm telling you to do. Right?
You don't have to be combative.
Right. You don't have to be combative. That's it. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Now here's the other thing. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. And looking bad, it does look bad. Any force looks bad if I got to use force on you, right? But the punch. Can officers punch you if they need to? Okay. The answer to that is yes. Okay. If you are physically resisting, an officer can use strikes to get you to comply to for instance, if you got your hand pinned up underneath you, you can use strikes to loosen them up, to make them give up, if you will, to get the let you get their hand behind their back. Now, okay, now that I said that being said, you know, when we trained on stuff like that, it was always discouraged to punch somebody in the face. Doesn't mean you can't legally do so in certain situations, but you would always try to avoid, if you can, punching somebody in the head or face, obviously, because you could cause more damage than what was intended. But if you're in a situation, you got to look at the totality of the circumstances. Okay, there are some circumstances where it might be necessary to punch somebody in the face. Okay,
but the question is, was that a reasonable amount of force?
There you go. Was that a reasonable amount of force? Now that you said that, Corey, real quick, Graham versus Connor. That's case law. That's a case law that governs when officers can use force or what kind of force they can use, what force is necessary. Let me read this real quick. This requires that the force be objectively reasonable under a totality of the circumstances known to the officer at the time. It must be viewed from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene and should not be analyzed with the perspective of perfect vision, 2020 hindsight. Okay, so totality of the circumstances. I already said it's not uncommon for an officer to strike someone to punch someone. Okay, we usually try to focus on meaty areas. You know what I'm saying? We try to avoid the head, face, neck area. Okay, not that we can't do that if circumstances permit. I'm saying, but in this situation, Corey, that's what comes into play with me. Was it necessary for them to punch him in the face?
Again,
I'm sorry.
We would probably, I don't say we would be different on it. I probably would not have punched him in the face. I probably would have definitely gave him some elbows to the back of the head for sure. And the only reason why I say that, because that's the situation I was in when I got into the fight on the side of the road. You know, he was definitely resisting. He would not give me his hands. I had to do. He had on a thick, heavy jacket, so me trying to deliver blows to anywhere in the side
wouldn't have been effective.
Wouldn't have been effective. So the only place that I had to go to was to the back of his head, but I didn't use fists. I did it with elbows to the back of the head, and use that force and drove his head into the ground. Now, mind you, all regulation policies, whatever, went out the window, because at this point I'm fighting for my life, because this guy.
Once it's a fight, it's a fight.
Right. I got my gun, I got my asp, I got my OC spray. This guy's not complying. I'm not trying to let you get a hold of anything on me that you can use against me. So, in that instance, me alone, if it was just me and this guy one-on-one, yeah, I probably would have punched him in the face. If it was me and you on this scene, I probably wouldn't have hit him in the face. I definitely probably would have gave him some blows to the head. I would try to use, your pressure points and things that nature, try to get him some type of wrist lock, something else. But again, the question is it excessive use of force?
Right.
Is this
now me? I hear you, and I'm 99% there with you. For me, it depends on whether I would have punched him. It depends. Was I able to accomplish what I'm trying to accomplish without punching him? If I am, then yeah, I wouldn't have punched him. That's really what it boils down to. If I wasn't able to accomplish what I was trying to accomplish, maybe I would resort to a strike to get him to loosen up his, tense up his grip, or shock him or something along those lines. That's why a punch can be necessary, because it's something that you're doing, that you're taking his attention off of you trying to get his arm behind his back. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing though, Corey. Here's the thing. Somebody brought this up to me, and I absolutely see where they were coming from. When you if you punch somebody in the head, your natural response for them would be to raise their arm up, to try to block you or something like that. You know what I'm saying? In this case, it looks like he punched him a couple of times, but they were still trying to struggle with getting his arm behind his back to handcuff him. And there were two guys on him. And let me tell you something. A single suspect can be absolutely very strong when they really trying to resist you and really trying to fight you. Okay. I would encourage all of our viewers, if you ever get an opportunity to wrestle with somebody on a mat, to have them put their arms up under them and you try to get their arms out from underneath them to handcuff them.
Just tense up. Just tense your body up.
Yeah, just tense. There you go. Just tense up. And I assure you, it is not easy.
Okay? You're going to be winded, guaranteed, within 30 seconds. You're going to be winded.
Guaranteed. But like I was saying, it looks bad for the officer to punch, for any officer to punch someone. When you see that on video, yeah, it looks bad. Use of force usually does look bad, though. You see what I'm saying? But I think most people, Corey, they think, well, that officer ain't supposed to punch like a street fight. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's how they think. But a punch is a strike. It's a strike, a trained strike that you can use in the right circumstances. Now, can an officer just run up to you on the street and just punch you in the face, when you ain't resisting or nothing? Well, of course not. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about a situation where we're actively resisting arrest.
Like we always say, though, Mike, an arrest is not going to be pretty. We would love for it to be pretty. As an officer, I would love for you when I say, hey, go ahead, turn around, put your hands behind your back, put your hands on your head, whatever the case may be. In a perfect world, in a perfect scenario, I would love for it to be like that every time I would go to arrest somebody, right? And then for the most part, Mike, your regular law biases, and my head just got into a little hiccup or whatever, and they knew they were wrong. Hey, you know what? Yeah, I was drunk. I know I got to go to jail, and not resist me. But then it seemed like it's always the ones that got a mountain of charges against them, warrants out there for their arrest, are always the ones that want to give you the toughest time. And why is that? Because they don't want to go back to jail.
Well, even more so, even more than that, another element to that is if we know if I know that someone's got a warrant and they jump out of the car when I'm stopping them, well, that's already a red flag to me as an officer, because now I'm presented with a situation where I need to get you under control. I don't know if you're going to run from me. I don't know if you're going to fight with me. I don't know if you are going to charge at me or run away. So that's an automatic where I'm going to feel like I got to put my hands on you because I can't control your movement. And until I can control your movement, only then will I feel that, okay, I have made this situation somewhat safe so I can deal with you on that level, right?
Yeah. Tone says he disagrees. He says from the time the officers approached him, they slammed him to the ground and automatically you would go into defense mode. And who knows what's next. Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, Tone, for the simple fact that, you already knew what he was setting the stage for. And as they did try to go hands on, he was already fidgeting around. So the guy, hey, all right, let's go ahead and just take him down to the ground and gain control that way. So he's not running off on. What say you, Mike?
Yeah, I think in a situation where I know that someone's got warrants and I pull them over and they jump out of the car, so I already know right up front I'm going to arrest you, okay, before you even get out of the car. I know that. So when you get out of the car and he turn around and face me, okay, I don't know what you're going to do. It's the uncertainty. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I might feel compelled to put my hands on you and handcuff you. Now, and that might happen pretty fast because it's like, whoa, don't, hold up. But in Tone's, I still understand where Tone is coming from in this video, because it really does seem like it was so quick that they took him to the ground, you know what I'm saying, or tried to get him on the ground. He was still resisting, you know what I'm saying? It was so quick. There was no, hey, you're under arrest, you got some warrants, this and that. You know what I'm saying? Now, you can also say that, okay, had they said that? Did they say that? Maybe the video didn't catch that part. I don't know. Okay. But if they did say that, it could have happened very quickly, for them saying that. And he's still up there like, wait, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Well, I would feel inclined to put my hands on you, at least get you physically detained. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know just to avoid any further confrontation down the road. And it looks like once they went hands on, that's when he started resisting immediately. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And as you're saying, and I'm sitting here thinking as like, okay, yeah, you have to look at the mindset of this guy. And this guy is a career criminal. Domestic assault, drugs, you name it. I think this guy has a charge for it in his criminal history. So
they knew something about him, enough about him to be able to want to control his movements instantly.
And you know how some folks are, I don't want to tell you got active warrants yet until I have you secured.
I understand that.
Right. And knowing maybe they know this guy, they have history with this guy. And as soon as, you do tell them, hey, go ahead and put your hands behind your back, you got active warrants for your arrest. What? He's not gonna go. Now you're either way, you're gonna fight. You're going hands on. Right. It would have been just, hey, we need to figure something out. Are you such and such? Identify who you are. Yeah, that's me. But hey, as right now, you're just being detained, administrative detention. And then you go ahead and turn around, put your hands behind your back real quick. And then, hey, what's wrong? What's wrong? Just go ahead and turn around, put your hands behind your back. Once I get the handcuffs on, I'm gonna be more than happy to tell you why I'm detaining you. And then let them know, hey, the reason why you're being detained is because you have active warrants for your arrest.
Okay. All right. I see where you're coming from. I think in this video, we don't have the luxury of seeing their thought process right out the gate. You know what I'm saying? As soon as because like Tone said, as soon as they got out the car, they knew they were going to, it almost immediately went hands on with this guy.
Well, and that's probably because they know this guy. They've had history with him.
That would explain that. That would explain that, especially if
Right.
you feel especially if you have history enough to know that this guy is probably going to resist.
Right.
You definitely want to physically restrain him as quickly as possible to stop that from happening. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
then once they went hands on, he resisted. Well, again, if you have cops coming up to you and putting hands on, the last thing you want to do is break. We teach that all the time. The last thing you want to do is break away from them. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. Hey, you see him coming up, putting their hands, trying to arrest you, you turn around and you let them do it. You know what I'm saying? No matter how fast it happens, if you see it, these officers coming up to arrest you, they pulled him over, immediately coming up to arrest you, But his demeanor was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. You just want to turn around, put your hands behind your back, and then we could talk about what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But I hear you, Tone. Unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of hearing that or seeing. Me and Corey are speculating based on our training experience. You know what I'm saying? But what was in the mind of these guys, I don't know. How much they knew about this guy. That's what we gotta find out more. And if more information comes out about it, we'll come back on. We'll we could talk about that. But
so then my question to our viewers is would you have punched this guy if this were you were the arresting officers and he wasn't complying with you? What would you have done? Would you hit him in the head? What are some other things that you could have done? Now, we have the tools around our waist. Could they have not backed off? OC sprayed him, i.e. pepper spray. Could they have used the ass on him? Could they have tased him, Mike? Again, like I always told you guys before, we didn't, as state police here in Virginia, we didn't carry tasers, and where I stand, we still don't carry tasers. So I'm limited what I can do. Situations are always going to dictate, whether or not you use your ass or, you use your OC spray. And then you have your service weapon. Well, obviously you're not going to use that. There is no presence of any weapons. So you're left with OC spray or the ass, or you using your hands. Which way are you going?
Stacy makes a good comment. That couldn't have been the start of the traffic stop. It escalated so quickly. Yeah, it does seem like there's something might be missing here. But Corey and I can, like, we've come up with examples that might explain the quick escalation, but we don't know for sure because we'd have to talk with these guys or read more about it. But it happened when it happened. But the punch to the head I want you viewers to try to look at that separately, because that could happen no matter what's going on. If you're resisting in any form of fashion, you could get punched. You know what I'm saying? If you're resisting arrest, you could get punched. Okay, and that's got nothing to do with they escalated it quickly. They were in the fight. I tell you the truth, Corey, once I go hands on, I'm probably not going to break free of you and then pull out taser or something. We carry tasers, but once I got both hands on you, and my partner also has the hands on you, we're trying to get your arms behind your back. If anything, I might try what they call drive stun them, which you put the taser straight, make direct contact with the skin. You know what I'm saying? Or their person, and you try to tase them that way. Okay, might try to do that, but maybe not. You know what I'm saying? If I got both hands on you, trying to get you subdued, if you will, well, I'm less likely to let go of a hand, let go of my grip, so I have less of a grip on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a right or wrong. It's just you in your level of training, and whether or not what you're doing is violating your department policy.
That part too. Yeah. I mean, just because officers could be in some circumstances where they can throw a punch at somebody's head. That maybe the department policy says no, we don't want our officers punching people in the head under any circumstances. That could be too. I don't know what their department policy is.
Don't know what their but when we talk about paying compliance now, we've talked about that before, and that's the amount of force necessary to get them, like you said, to release that tension and to be able to get them to do what it is you need them to do. Is punching somebody in the face achieving that goal?
It could. Absolutely, it could in certain circumstances. I could see that happening. Again, we try to train to avoid the head and neck area, but
you do.
It's not an absolute thing in every circumstance. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he bobbed when he should have weaved, and he caught that right hook. It's just. My thing is that I just want people to understand that we have to understand that arrests aren't pretty. Like I said a few minutes ago, we would love for it to be pretty, but in a lot of instances when somebody's going to resist you, and he also has to gain control of the situation, they're always going to have the one up on you and gain control of the situation, right? This guy clearly didn't do it. I mean, you can sit here and holler and scream all day. Okay, no, no, don't do this. I'm gonna play a little bit more of this video. What you're saying, your words really don't matter at this point. You just need to do what I'm telling you to do.
Okay, I got a hand here.
I can't, officer.
He's still pulling on me.
Yes.
No, don't want to fight. Stop. Put your hands behind your back.
I just want to talk to you.
No, put your hands here. There's another car here.
I can't.
Put your hand behind your back.
Please,
like right now, you can knee in the side to try to let him loosen his grip.
Put your hands behind your back.
Get back. I can't breathe.
Yeah, I got it.
I got asthma. I can't breathe. Officer. I can't breathe.
He's still trying to pull. Yes. Stop it, dude.
Here. Y'all let me up, please. I can't tell you. I'm sorry. I'm just scared. Yeah.
There, they finally got the cuff on.
Finally got the cuffs on. But you heard how he was, now he's saying I can't breathe. That's not gonna stop.
We still got to get you handcuffed. You
still gonna get handcuffed. We'll address that.
And a lot of times, even more so today, that I can't breathe. They throw that out like that's going to stop them, or it's going to stop them from being arrested or stop them from being handcuffed. They use that so loosely now. But again, as long as the officers are doing what they're supposed to do, making sure that he can breathe, making sure that he doesn't stay in those positions where his breathing could be hampered, that responsibility still falls on those officers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right now, they finally got him handcuffed. He's on his stomach. He does start to sit up. They start to let him up, and he says, I just want to sit up. Okay, that's fine. You already cuffed now. I can let you sit up. Making sure you still able to breathe. You saying I can't breathe? Okay, I'm sitting here observing you. So nothing I can do about that now. You know what I'm saying? But it's not pretty, and it's not supposed to be pretty.
No, it's not. And they did what's right. I mean, if I had a dollar for every time somebody, barked a concerned while they're being arrested, shucks, I left the departments quicker than I did this time. You know what I mean? You have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. You're still gonna get handcuffed, and then we'll assess that issue once we get you under control and we had the whole situation secured. And then we'll address those issues, in which they did. And I by the way, I'll put the link to this video down in the description after the show, and you can check it out in its entirety. But you address the issue afterwards, right? Let's get it cuffed. And I understand that, folks. That in a perfect arresting scenario, that's how it should work. We're gonna get you handcuffed first. If there's any injuries, anything like that. We'll address it after we get you in handcuffs. TSW1 says, so how would it be with a different gender?
It's a good question. That's a good question. It depends on it ain't just the gender. You got to look at everything. You got to look at the size, you got to look at the strength, you got to look at, because I've seen some strong big women too. Okay,
yes, sir.
That'll knock you out just the same. So it's not there's, in other words, there's no chivalry in law enforcement. Okay. If I'm going to arrest you and you putting up as much of a fight with me as a man, you're gonna get dealt with the same way. It's all about safely, physically restraining you and handcuffing you and getting you physically secured. However hard of a fight you put up with me, that's about how hard I'm gonna deal with you. And more. I always like to say, Corey, when you fighting with police, there's no such thing as a fair fight. No such thing as a fair fight. Okay. Correct. I am trying to take control of you. That's my job, to take control of you, get you physically restrained and safely handcuffed the best and quickest way I can to avoid any more. Whatever force I got to use that I feel as the officer as reasonable, okay, then that's the force that I'm going to use. Okay. But it really, like we always say, Corey, it really depends. Initially, it's going to depend on how much resistance you are giving me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's a good question. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question, Tim. Thanks for that question, man. So we want to take time to welcome everybody who just joining in over on Facebook and here on YouTube. Thank you all for joining us. Tonight we're discussing caught on tape, a black man subjected to a harrowing police assault in Akron, Ohio that occurred over the weekend back on Saturday. If you just joining us, we're talking about how these officers apprehended a young black man in the parking lot, was resistant, and one of the officers punched the gentleman in the face. I think it was like 2 or 3 times, right, Mike?
Yeah, a couple of times.
And it's starting to gain traction nationwide, gaining nationwide attention. So we just hopefully, everybody acts accordingly in Akron and don't get crazy. This was not a racial incident. I mean, you've seen here how these guys conducted themselves. You can debate the punch all day if you want. Not everybody's going to agree with that. But at the end of the day, just know you're going to use the right amount of force necessary to gain control of the situation.
And usually the right amount of force, the average citizen's opinion of what the right amount of force is always usually going to be different than an officer's opinion of the right amount of force. But you got to understand that an officer is likely coming from his opinions, and reasonableness is formed by his past experiences in physical fighting or physical altercations with suspects. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I want people to understand is, if you see an officer in a situation where the person is resisting and fighting, and that officer ends up punching somebody in the face, it doesn't look good. It's not going to look good, but is it necessarily wrong? That's a different thing. An officer can, in general, use a punch to physically restrain someone, depending on how much they're resisting or how they're resisting. All those things become the totality of their circumstances, again, known to the officer at the time. I would like to know more context to this story, though, Corey, about how these officers ended up coming across him a little bit more, because like Tone was saying, I do see that looking at the video that I've seen, they almost go hands on immediately. And we've given circumstances again that would explain that, but I'd like to know more about this. There's usually always more context to the story that we don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't know how much more you get because that's just, I mean, if I'm out doing my normal routine of driving, you know, I hate using that word normal, and I'm out doing traffic infractions, and I come across a tag that expires, I run it, and while I'm waiting to get information back from dispatch whether or not, you know, these warrants are active, and I lose sight of them, well, that rest of the time I'm driving around trying to find this guy. I locate him. He's already out the car. He sees them pulling up. And like I said, the thing is, dealing with a lot of this, you know these guys, if they're a career criminal, they know they have active warrants. They know.
I understand that. But do they see
cop roll up?
Do they see him in the car in the parking lot before they activated lights to pull him over? Did they just see
No, he was already in the parking lot. He was already
so he was already in the parking lot.
Yeah.
They driving by and see him
him in the park, right?
And then they pull into the parking lot without really putting on their lights. Then they didn't. They just walk up.
That's the way. Yeah, that's the way it would have. They drive around. They notice him over in the, I think it was a Family Dollar Tree parking lot. He was already there, standing outside the vehicle.
Okay.
When they rolled up on him.
All right.
Right.
I mean, perhaps, you know me, I got to play devil's advocate. You know what I'm saying? If I roll up on him like that, I'm going to use my words a little bit more than they did, if that's exactly how it happened. In other words, what I mean by that is I'm going to at least tell them, hey, you have expired tags on your plate and you possibly have some active warrants, because unless they ran him beforehand with a picture of the person that had the warrants and they recognized him as that same person, you know what I'm saying, that had those warrants, then you automatically know right out the gate that this is the driver that has these warrants. You know what I'm saying? If they knew that, and like you said, they had history with this guy, so they knew who this guy was and what he was capable of doing, and he jumps out the car as they roll up, then I could understand the immediate use of hands-on. But if they just saw the registration and expiration and they ran the owner of the vehicle, that the owner of the vehicle had warrants, okay, do they know that this guy was the owner? Did they know that this guy was the owner of the vehicle? You know what I'm saying? Because he could be a driver that's not the owner of the vehicle and not have warrants. You know what I'm saying?
So here's the interesting thing. They knew who he was because later in the video they already called him by his first name.
Okay, so they knew they
knew who he was.
All right, so they knew he had warrants and they already knew who he was.
Right.
Again, which would explain the immediate handgun as
Correct.
He got out the car.
Correct.
You know,
like I said, they knew who he was. And yeah, Tim, you know, sometimes these guys do know the cops are looking for him. They, like I said, they know that they have active warrants because they know that the criminal activity that they're involved in. You know, some of them will probably try to play dumb, like, I didn't know I had no warrant, or that was supposed to be taken care of. Well, you know what? It's still active. You ain't take care of it.
Yeah, they know. You know, if they got warrants,
he was dirty anyway.
You gotta know that they see the cops roll up on you and they want to take off because they know they shady and ain't up to no good. So,
and this guy had drugs in the car.
Yeah, I understand that they found drugs and some other contraband inside the car. Yeah. They knew
with his son in the car,
dude that they had dealt with before in a negative way.
Right, with his son in the car, which, you know,
right.
You carrying on like this in front of your child, man. I think you at this point, again, like I always say, go ahead and take that L, man, and just ride it out in jail. Don't let something like this take place in front of your child, and your child has to sit here and watch this. You know, that's not cool.
I hear you. I hear you. And I agree with you. I agree with you. You know me, I'm just trying to, what could these officers have done better in this situation? Well, yeah, he messed up. He knew he was wrong. He knew he had contraband in the car, drugs in the car. Well, you got drugs in the car with your son in the car. Okay.
Yeah.
So he got drugs in the car. He knew he was riding dirty. Okay. And yeah, he did resist. When you see officers coming up, trying to say, put your hands behind your back, he's still on the ground resisting, not putting his hands behind his back. They had to force him to get his hands behind his back, and they had to use elevated level force, the punches and the strikes, to do so. So there's no question that this guy was resisting. It's never a good idea to resist with police officers. Okay, so they knew he was resisting right out the gate. There's no question about that. My only question is, could this be handled differently as it started? Not necessarily as it was unfolding, but as it started before they went hands-on. Because they said, hey, you got some warrants, okay, and you got expired registration. At least get that out. 9 times out of 10, this guy would have still behaved the way he did, okay? Because they had history with him. He knew he was riding dirty. He knew he was getting ready to be arrested.
Well, and then too, my thought process, again, having been in these type of situations, you know if they're runners or not.
True.
So, and if he's a runner, you know that's why they want hands on, because I'm not trying to let you run. I don't want to get into a foot pursuit.
Right. I'm not going to let you get to that point.
I'm not going to give you that pleasure. Right. And so I don't have a problem with the rushing to get, especially if I have history with you and I know you a runner. No, I'm not going to give you the opportunity, because I'm not trying to run, around the city trying to, run you down. And I got you right here.
Hey, keep in mind, I want our viewers, don't get it twisted. When I'm saying I would like to know more context as to the reason how fast they went hands-on, I believe he would. That doesn't change what would have happened after that. I believe this guy would have put up a fight anyway. I believe,
absolutely.
He
wasn't going to jail that day.
Yeah, he was going to jail, and it is what it is. I don't question that. That's not why I'm questioning that. It doesn't change the fact that I see you. I know you got warrants. I'm gonna pull up on you. I know I'm getting ready to arrest you, and I see you get out the car, and I see you, like what's going on here. I know you're a runner, whatever background I know of you. I'm going to physically restrain you as fast as I can, because
you're telling me your problem is the rushing to arrest him.
It's not really a problem because
versus the punching.
Well, it's not really a problem because I can see circumstances where it would be necessary, like what they did. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily have a problem with it. I just question. I would like some confirmation as to the information that they know, but it really doesn't change the fact of them going hands-on with him. No, if you think about it, we only saying more information because we're hoping that if they would have said you have warrants and you had expired registration, we're hoping that little bit of information would have caused this guy to all of a sudden say, oh, okay, and turn around and put his hands behind your back. We both know, Corey, that probably wasn't going to happen anyway, even if they said that right out the gate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was still going to fight.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious to know.
Yeah, Toby got a good question. Though they knew this guy's criminal history with the way the officers reacted, stand up in court of law. Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
You can articulate that.
Yeah,
right?
You can articulate that. I have history with this guy. I know that in the past he is a runner, or he's a fighter, or whatever history you have. that does establish your thought process in what he could do at the time you contact him. So, if, in other words, if you know John Green, you've had past history with John Green, and every time you contacted John Green, he ends up running from you in the past, or he ends up fighting with you, or he has fought with you in the past. The next time I stop John Green, you better believe I'm going to look and treat him a little differently than had I not known the information of dealing with him before. You know what I'm saying? If I know that you are probably going to run from me, I'm going to put hands on you a lot quicker than somebody who doesn't have a history of running from me. You see what I'm saying? Or if I know you're going to fight with me, I'm going to put hands on you a lot quicker and faster than somebody who doesn't have a history of fighting with me. So yeah, that could be articulated in court. So yeah, absolutely, it could stand up in court of law.
And the judge is going to look at, was the amount of force necessary used in order to arrest this individual.
What we say, force objectively reasonable under a totality of the circumstances known to the officer at the time. Must be viewed from the perspective of a reasonable officer on the scene and should not be analyzed with the perspective of perfect vision 20/20 hindsight.
So that case law actually really protects him.
Graham versus Connor. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff on the internet, folks, about cops punching people, when it could be appropriate, when it's not appropriate. There's some times, Corey.
I tell you, wouldn't have been. Now, say the guy was standing straight up. They were straight up. He wasn't down on the ground. And then the cop just didn't cold cocks him.
Just cold cocked him? Yeah.
That could have been. Now, we have seen one instance before. I think we did a video on it maybe over a year or so ago. I had to look, where it was in Minnesota. And I'm not sure, it might have been like a Black Lives Matter rally or something like that. And the officer knocks the dude right in the face.
I saw that.
And if I remember, I think we agreed with it. Like, yeah, I mean, you were not complying with what we were telling you to do. And before I comment, I got to go back and rewatch it. But
yeah, I saw that one, but I don't think I agree. If it's the one I'm thinking about, where an officer just turned around, cold cocked this dude, I didn't think that was under the totality of the circumstances. I didn't think that was objectively reasonable. You know what I'm saying? If it's the one I'm thinking about.
Delando said he remembered that video. Yeah, it was a while ago, and I can't.
We'd have to pull that one up.
I have to look at it again. But there may be instances where you are standing up, and you may have to go there. I mean, and there was that other one, I think, in Cleveland too, where it's two. One was in Minnesota, was at the Black Lives Matter rally, and the other one we did was I think it was a bar fight. And all the officers out there, and the guy he came out of nowhere, left center field, and just bam, dropped the dude. We're like, man, that was messed up. Now that was definitely wrong.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
We did two videos. I can't remember. I have to go back and look. Man,
I mean, in other words, the guy didn't even have a chance to resist.
Correct.
I know where he was cold cocked. Right. And it's like,
he was just they do. He came out of nowhere. I mean, he just and just laid him out. And that one we were like, that was totally wrong. You won't be able to justify that one in court. This one, however, you can articulate your actions in court. And you had case law.
As long as it's within their department policy. You know what I'm saying? Then you might have another.
You gotta look at the department policy too. Even still, I mean, at that point, it would be a violation of your department policy, and then the department will handle that internally. Now you're talking about Right. You're talking about in the courtroom where it's different ball game, right? They're not going to question your policy. Well, they can question your policy in there, but at this point, you may still look at that. But was it a right? You're going to look at case law. What did case law say? Is the case law match up to the actions of the officer?
Here's a example real quick for our viewers of what would look real bad on camera. I recall we used to do some training on different ways to take people down. Somebody who's challenging you, or you're telling them that to put their hands behind their back and they're standing there in a confrontational way. You know what I'm saying? We used to train on something called a hair pull takedown. Okay. Where you actually come up and you grab the back of their hair and you pull them down backwards. You know what I'm saying? That was a tactic that was trained, that we trained on. You know what I'm saying? But if you show that something like that on video, okay, that's going to look real bad. That the officers grabbing somebody by the hair and pulling them down backwards. That is a necessary move that we used to train on. If someone is confrontational, they're getting ready to fight you when you put hands on. Sometimes something like that might be necessary to get them. You want to get them down on the ground. It is always 90% of the time. Officers usually want to get you on the ground because they can better control you on the ground and get you handcuffed. Okay.
Right.
Unless you just turn around and say, here you go, officer, handcuff me. You know what I'm saying? But if we know you're going to fight, okay, we're going to try to get you on the ground and then handcuff you. We're going to do it that way.
Yep. All right, y'all. We've come to that hour. We'd like to take the time to thank you all for watching us this evening. We wrap this one up, another one for the books. Hey, leave us a comment down below what you think about this video. If you were the officers responding to a call like this, would you have used this type of force? Would you have punched this guy in the face? Leave us a comment down below. Don't forget to share this out to everybody. Let's have a conversation. Excessive use of force. And remember the acronym McCOM, which stands for comply, answer questions, listen, and move on. And don't forget to hit that merch shop up and get your Brothas-in-law t-shirt to help support our channel. And share this out to everyone to get us into the algorithm with YouTube and get our videos out there far and wide. So thank you all for watching us. We love you. We appreciate it. It's good to be back live with you guys again. And we hope you all had a happy 4th and safe 4th of July. And Mike, final words.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Delando, I see you on here. Jesus loves you. Tone, Stacy, always good to see you. TSW1. Appreciate you joining us. Nicole, thanks for joining us. Mrs. Taylor, I see you guys on here. Appreciate you guys tuning in and give us your comments and opinions and stuff like that. It always makes the show a little bit more interesting. You got new stuff and new people on there making comments. You know what I'm saying? You guys have a good one. Peace out.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your week. Be safe, and we'll see you guys next Thursday with another video. And if you have something you would like us to talk about, go ahead and hit us up over on Facebook Live, or not Facebook Live, sorry, over on Facebook on our Facebook page, and we'll get it on the show. All right. So be safe. God bless. We love you.
See you.